Hey there. So over this past weekend, TickTick has made some updates to the Kanban view. Now, these are very welcome updates, A, because I use the Kanban view quite frequently, and B, also because it wasn't some major release. So I think last time they came out with a major release, and it was only just a couple of feature updates, I think some of the folks in the TickTick user community were a little disappointed or let down or something like that. But in this case, they just came out with some new features, and they didn't pre-announce it or anything like that. They basically just rolled it out quietly, at least so far. I haven't seen any announcements for it yet, but I'm sure they'll post an announcement on their Twitter account soon. But let's go check it out, and we'll start by looking at what they put on their changelog. So on their changelog, dated December 15th, 2023, it says the Kanban view supports personalized display settings. You can adjust the size of the Kanban according to your needs, or enable the task input box display to make task addition more quick and convenient. Just click More in the upper right corner of the Kanban view and select View Options to experience this new feature. Okay, so that's what I'm most excited about. But then there is another item here. It says, a more convenient way to clear time is now provided. Just select Clear from the task's right-click menu to easily complete it. So we might check that out too while we're out here. But first, let's go look at the Kanban view and see what changes are there. All right, so I'm over here in my TickTick account, and I'm just going to go to one of my lists, and I'm going to start with my personal list. And this currently is in list view, so let me switch that to Kanban. Okay, so now that I have it in Kanban view, let me just add a few sections real quick. And I'm just going to use the classic to do, doing, and done. And I'm just going to move some tasks around, that way I can kind of see what it'll look like here. Okay, so now let's go check out that new feature they mentioned. So I'm going to come up here to the upper right corner and click the More menu. And right here now is View Options. And I have a couple new options. So Kanban size is the first one, and by default it's on medium. So I can make this large. And it looks like it widens my columns a little bit, so that might be easier to read if you're having trouble seeing the task names. But I can also go the other way and make the columns a little smaller. So that's a simple but I think very useful feature that they've added here, and I'll show you why I think it'll be useful to me personally in just a minute. But before we go on, let's look at the second option here, which is Show Input Box. So it's a simple toggle switch. Right now it's off and I can turn it on, and that adds a task input box to the top of every column. So if I want to add a task that I'm currently doing, it's really easy to add that way. So again, another simple but useful feature. All right, so let me show you why I think that Kanban size will be useful to me. So this is my demo TickTick account, but in my real personal TickTick account, I have a folder. So for example, let me combine some of these lists into a folder. So I'm going to drag personal up to finance, and I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call it self, and I like to put a little emoji. And health goes into self as well, and home maintenance. And so I really have a work list and a self folder full of other lists. Now what I like to do is use the Kanban view on the folder level. So if I click up to self, which gives me the list of all the tasks within my folder, I can switch this view over to Kanban, and it shows me all my lists in columns. So my finance is here, personal, health, home maintenance. But on a little screen like this, it's hard to see everything. Now you can collapse this left navigation pane by clicking this icon here in the upper left corner. And that gives you a little more screen real estate when you're working on a small laptop screen. But if you have several projects going on and you like to see them all on one screen, it's going to be very useful to come up here and change the Kanban size to small. And that way you can fit a few more projects in this view, or at least one more. And the other way that I think it'll be useful is a lot of times I use a big widescreen monitor. When I'm on the Kanban view, all the columns are kind of scrunched over to the left side, and I have a big side of my screen that is just empty, and I'm not really using that screen real estate. So in that case, I might come up here to the view options and make the Kanban size large, and that way it gives me a little more breathing room to see my tasks on my big monitor. And again, with that new Show Input Box option on, I can easily add tasks to any of these lists. So if I have another health item I want to put on here, it's very easy to add, and now it's on my health list. Okay, so now let's go check out that other item that TickTick mentioned on the changelog, which was related to using the right click to clear the due date. So let me add a due date to my new task I added here. And I'll just set it to today. And what they mentioned is that I can now just right click on the task and select clear. And I believe that's this new icon up here to the far right under the date section. So these first four have been there. They were today, tomorrow, next week, and custom. But now there's another icon which is clear, so I can just select to clear the date. So that feature I probably won't use as much, but to some it might be another small but useful feature. Okay, so that was a quick look at 3 new features that TickTick just quietly rolled out and hasn't really told anybody about it, didn't make any announcements or anything like that. And all 3 features are small but useful. The first 2 features, which were related to the Kanban view, I personally will find useful. But the third one, I can see how some folks will find that useful as well. So let me know in the comments if you think you'll use any of these new features that TickTick just rolled out. But that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.